All right, guys. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to the Podcast, New Zealand's maybe number one podcast here in Aotearoa. Joining us today, we have a special guest with us, guys. Close friend, with here the host, Brandon, and myself. But we here have Paea with us. Paea Leakehe. Welcome.
Yes, it's good to finally be here. It's been ages to make this happen, but it's here.
Just couple months ago, but she had prior superior engagements before this. So
I just needed to sleep, guys. It's good to be here.
So we'll just go off and start right ahead. Just give us your name, your age, where you're from, and then also question: if you could travel anywhere in the world, where would it be and why?
Okay. So, as everyone already knows, my name is Paea Leakehe. And I am 27 years young, and if I could go anywhere in the world, it would be Israel.
Israel.
That's been my dream.
I like that. Any reason why?
I don't know. This might sound cheesy, but I just want to walk where Christ walked. Yeah.
Guys.
Angel halo above me right now.
I would go to Israel to see the vineyards. I mean,
not the wine.
The olives.
Okay, yep.
Nah, moving on. Just give us a quick introduction of what you've been up to right now. Because you just finished your program, your doctorate program, correct?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Just give us just let everyone know what you've been studying, what you've been up to, and what's been up with life so far.
Okay, so I just finished my final year of medical school, and that took 6 years all up. So medical school actually starts on the second year. So just like with law, everyone has to do like a prerequisite year before getting into med school, and then if you get the grades and then you have a good interview, then you get into medical school. So 6 years later, I'm finally here. And actually, so today we actually find out whether we graduate or not. So in a few hours, I'll let you guys know whether I'm going to be a doctor next year or not.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was hoping they would tell me before the podcast.
So you could say,
I could say it like you heard it here first.
Cross fingers, guys. Don't worry, we'll be praying.
Maybe I'll get an email throughout this podcast. But yeah, so that's been my journey. So the next, I guess you want to know, what am I doing now? Or?
Yeah, like what you been up to now?
So I guess I could talk a little bit more about my journey in med school, and then
go ahead.
coming to like where I am now, because right now I'm not really doing anything, so it's nothing exciting right now. But yeah, so I did I took an unconventional way of getting into medical school. So I did a year of certificate in health sciences, and that's just for Māori and Pacific people, because I didn't get in straight away. So I did that, and I would recommend that for those who are like not sure where they want to do medicine, or maybe they want a bit more support, because I felt like it was I got a lot of support during my cert year. So I did that, and then I left on a mission to Western Australia, the best mission, and then came back and did first year, and it was cool. I think it was meant to be that way, because got into like all the courses that I wanted to get into. Yeah, like scholarships paid throughout. So that's sort of the pathway that I took to get into medicine. And now 6 years later, hopefully I can be a doctor next year. Yeah.
Well, pretty sure something will happen tonight. So
yeah, I know.
Praying, crossing fingers.
Guys. I'll let you guys know.
I guess going back and just focusing more on your background with your journey with pursuing medicine. What really inspired you to take that path, that journey? Like, was there an epiphany or something? Or did you have an experience where you knew this is what I want to do? I want to pursue this career.
Yeah, so I didn't have any epiphanies or visions or any fatal experiences. Like my one was like a gradual
Yeah. Like it built up.
Yeah. So I've always wanted to, like as young as I can remember, I've always wanted to be a doctor. So whenever someone asked me, I was always like, oh yeah, doctor. Like even in primary school.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until I got into high school where I was like, oh yeah, like maybe I should take this a bit more seriously. And then I sucked at science.
Oh, so, yeah. And so science is important.
Yeah. So for all of those who are like thinking that they want to be doctors but they suck at science, like there's still hope for you, because that's how it was for me. So yeah, I was like just passing, starting out in high school. But I knew that I wanted to do it. And I just had seen, like, this sounds so cheesy, but it was the case for me where I just had like a lot of family members pass away at such a young age. And just like people were getting sick all around me, and they didn't really know how to navigate through the healthcare system. And so like I wanted to be that person that
to help navigate, you know?
Yeah. To help my family first to navigate through the healthcare system, but also to like help with, I guess, reducing, they call it health inequities. So inequities is just like the differences between Māori and Pacific versus non-Māori and Pacific, right? Because you see, like Māori and Pacific have the worst health stats.
Yeah, pretty bad.
Yeah. And
really,
so
really bad.
I wanted to be like, I guess, part of the team that helps with
that change.
Yeah. So that was one of the biggest
cool.
reasons why I wanted to get into med school. And then like as the years have gone by, just little experiences have happened where I'm like, oh yeah, this is where I'm meant to be.
That's cool. That's awesome. Yeah. I think honestly, like looking back, like you're 100% right. You know, just thinking about health and how important that health is, especially in our community, right? A lot of us struggle at times to, and even like our parents or even our grandparents, like you see them, you know, a lot of them going to doctors on a regular basis, and they still struggle with the process and how that works. So that's super cool. I guess going back to, you know, again, medicine and your time, you know, during medical school, like talk to us about the emotions and the feelings that you had throughout. Like, was it competitive? Like how was that? Like, you know, the I guess the different types of surgeries, or like, I don't know, practice surgeries you go through. Like just talk to us about that.
So first year, so that prerequisite year that I mentioned before, like that was pretty cutthroat. Like, cause you're trying to, it was like 1,000 plus medical students. You're trying to filter. There's only about, I think, 300. I might be a little, like, give or take 300 students that they take. So you're cutting down. Like, quite a bit.
You keep cutting down, right?
Yeah, and so I felt like a lot of pressure. And I remember like my first test. So I just got off my mission, and I was like really confident about my abilities. A bit too confident, and did my first test, and like my parents asked me like, how did it go? And I was like, oh yeah, it was like easy as, and then got my mark back and had like just passed. And I remember I just like was so humbled by that experience, and I was just like, am I even gonna make it into med school with this like 15 over 30? And so I think it was just like it's so hard to put into words. Like, if you ask any medical students, it's so hard to put into words what the experience was like. But initially, I felt maybe a bit inadequate after that first test, especially. And then just like sitting in a lecture room, you know, with 1,000 plus students, and seeing that there are not many Māori and Pacific there, like that was a bit intimidating as well. Like that made me wonder whether I was good enough for this as well. Yeah, I
mean the percentage of actually Pacific Islander, the doctors, is not much in Aotearoa, right?
Nah. So I think it might be about 10%.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that though.
I saw like on the one of the reports for I guess job occupations here in Aotearoa, right? There's like in 2018 it says like 6.6% is Pacific Islanders here in Aotearoa for Māori Pacific. Right. Yeah, so I'm like, there's not really a lot of I guess, you know, if you think about it, you know, you being there, right? Like you're actually, you know, representing, you know, a lot of us, you know, trying like in that percentage going to that at that point, right? Thinking about it, like, so that's super cool. That's so inspiring to a lot of people, you know, because it's not easy, right? If you think about it, it's like, it's emotional, it's tough, it's stressful, like, you know, and especially it's competitive, like. and you're not just going up against anyone. You know what I mean? You're like your colleagues and people around you, like they're all people from, you know, their backgrounds, you know, medical school, or you know, their families in medicine, or like, you know, lawyers and other like prestigious, you know, people around the community in Aotearoa. Like those are all their kids, you know, trying to pursue and trying to get that same position as you. So like that's must have been intense, you know.
Ah, for real. And you're so right about like you just feel like you're representing the whole Pacific community. Like you got them all on your back.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
honestly,
yeah, yeah.
like, and everyone's like, we're so proud of you, we're so proud of you. But in your head you're like, oh, like I literally represent everyone here. But that was, yeah, I guess, which is not true though. I think it was just something that I made up in my head where I had to like represent the whole Māori and Pacific community. But for those who are like thinking like, oh, I can't do it. So there's actually, I don't know if you've heard of MAPAS.
MAPAS.
So MAPAS is like, so it's like a special admission scheme for Māori and Pacific students.
Okay, cool.
Where there's like specific spots that are already reserved for Māori and Pacific students. I think there's about 60 or so. And so those spots like are reserved specifically for Māori and Pacific. So, and also I think the average to get into med for like generally is about an A-. With the Māori and Pacific scheme, it's at a B+. So they make it, it's a leveling scheme. So because like you said, like some people there have like, you know, like medicine runs in their family, like which isn't really fair to compete with someone who, you know, whose family there's probably no education in the family.
Education, medical whatsoever.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. So MAPAS is one of those schemes to
they probably knew the bones before they were born.
Yeah, like, for real. They probably came out like yelling, like saying words. But yeah, so MAPAS is definitely something that can support you through helping you to get into medical school, but also throughout your med school journey as well. So, there's definitely hope for those who are thinking that they have to compete with, you know, thousands of students.
There's a lot of, thinking about it, like I feel like New Zealand, you know, we do a lot. I mean, it's a great country, and you know, especially for Māori and Pacifica, you know, we can get into careers into any type of, you know, occupation we can. You know, it just takes a lot of hard work, and I feel like, you know, congratulations, and you know, we appreciate, you know, especially you and what you do, actually being that kind of influence that we do need, you know, in our community. We really do need people that are not afraid to, even though they know who they're up against, right? Even though they know the odds and stuff, they're still willing to go and do this for their family and for themselves, right? Because sometimes I feel like we tend to take the opportunities we have in New Zealand for granted, even though like we make sometimes complain about the system, but they in some instances they have provided opportunities for us to do the best that we can, you know, to maybe get that head start and help us, help our families and our generations to come, you know.
Yeah, that's a hard one, Brandon, because everyone refers to like a broken system, and I think it still is broken.
It's to some degree, You're right.
But you're right, though. It is. I think it's also good to acknowledge that there are things in place that, and we're moving forward, even though at a slow rate. We are moving forward
at a small degree, you know. Yeah, 100%. And I feel like there's so many more things that we need to do, we need to accomplish, I guess, in Aotearoa. Like there's bigger things that, you know, than the system itself, and I feel like, we just need to know what we're up against, and that's why I'm saying, like, even though we know some things, or the system's not great, or this is not great, you know, we still need people to keep going and not looking back, you know, just keep looking forward.
Facts.
And that's something that we need to do more, you know.
It's like that talk from conference, how he said, like, don't focus on where you started, focus on the slope.
On the slope.
I think that's exactly what you were saying. Like, sometimes we can become obsessed with what we don't have, and that we can't do this because of all these stereotypes and what society, you know, this broken system. But I think if we're just focusing on us and like getting better and like progressing in terms of ourselves and not having to compete with others, I think there's great strength and power in doing
100%. Sometimes we don't realize that the strength, you know, like we have a lot of great potential inside us. It's just that we need to ourselves.
Yeah.
We need to first recognize that, and then once we recognize that, then we need to come up with a plan, and then do what our best we can to achieve that plan and achieve those goals. Which I feel like, not a lot of us. Not that we don't know how. I guess it's just that I think we just don't understand, or how to communicate, our plans or our goals or what we want to accomplish. So yeah, there's just a lot of things that I feel that we can do better at, and that we should do better at.
Oh, and I think that this podcast, I reckon this podcast is one of like those ways that we can put ourselves in front of our people, so that they can see like, oh, if they can do it, then I can do it.
Yeah, and that's the whole point. Like meeting great people who have great influence in the community, who are well driven, who are goal oriented, who know what they want, who know what they want to get. And I feel like, hopefully, in my mind, hopefully some people listening to these podcasts, right, they can see great people in their own community do so well, and that way that can spark up and be like, dang, I can do that too. I can push myself and reach those limits as well,
Nah, for real. Yeah. So if anyone wants to do med, then you can do it, honest.
Anything is possible if you believe.
Yes, it is. Facts.
Why do you think not a lot are in that position? Or I guess we talked a little bit about it, but I guess, is there any thoughts why you believe, you personally believe, being Pacific Islander yourself, is there any reason why you think that it's a profession that not a lot of Polynesians get into?
Yeah, that's a big question. I think it's not just one thing. Like, I think there are quite a lot of factors that contribute to that. But I think one of them is not believing that they can do it. I've talked to a lot of people, because I'm always trying to convince people to do medicine. Like, you can do whatever you want, but do medicine first. The thing that I get commonly is I'm not smart enough, which is so not true.
Bro, that is honestly the same thing I've heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not smart enough, or I can't do that.
Yeah. And I don't think it's like their fault. I think society. We're just gonna come back to society.
Back it up to society.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of negative stereotypes, and the media is getting a little bit better with portraying Māori and Pacific in a positive light, and like you're getting more of our people tell their stories. But I think for a very long time, we haven't been portrayed in the best of ways, and so we kind of believe in what we see, and I think that's one of the reasons why people don't feel like they're smart enough, because everything is against them pretty much. Yeah. So I think that would be probably the biggest reason. Or the second biggest reason is that they won't have a life. Like, that's a big thing that I get as well. They always ask me whether they have a life.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100% agree with everything you said. Like, if I had a dollar for every time someone told me that, like, honestly, I could count, like, there's so many people that I know that always say, I'm not smart enough, or I don't have enough skills, I'm not, I don't have enough money for that, I can't afford that, like, there's a lot of things, like, and yes, like, there is, to some degree, an understanding of some certain situations, right? But for the most part, like, you can do it, like, like, you can be, like, for example, going back to a couple podcasts before, right, with Bila.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that, yeah.
And 2 + 2 in private school is going to be 2 + 2 in the public school, right? So it's the only thing that's different is just the connections and network and the people that and some part of teaching, and that the only problem is, I feel like you're right, like, we've come to understanding where society has a label and has put us in that label, in that category, and we're too afraid to be able to jump out of that box or the category, right? Because it's an unknown territory, right? It's something that we're not used to, right? We're not used to going and taking, maybe 4, 5, 6 classes or late night studies, doing it for a couple of years, like, but the one thing we can do, we can go outside and, hang out with our friends. We can go outside and, hang out on the weekends, right? Where we can, we can skip a couple classes, right? And and go hang out at the beach or do whatever we want to do. Like it's so funny. Like I guess it just comes down to, it really just comes down to yourself and your goals and your priorities, you know, and what you really want, you know.
Yeah, you're so right, and I think I was just thinking about like our access to resources as well. It's limited compared to those who've been around it for ages, and so I think that's another reason why it seems too hard is that we can't see how we're supposed to get there. And so like exactly as you said, like going to the beach and going to the movies, it's an easy thing. Like, you know, we don't have to wonder how we're going to get there or whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas trying to get to medicine, we're just not sure.
You just don't know.
Yeah, we just don't know. I think it's just like the accessibility to the information, to how to get there. I think.
But isn't that the beauty of the journey, though? Like, of not knowing where you're going and not knowing if this is going to happen, but in your back of your mind, you're like, I'm gonna accomplish this. I want to do it. You know. Yeah. Like for yourself, you know, in particular, like just not long ago, like if you think about it, like you this whole process and this journey, and then now you're like looking back, you know, and then you can reflect and reminisce on those goals and those tough times, right? You know, and you can think back and say, man, I'm grateful like this all played out, and now like this is amazing. I've accomplished this, you know. There's so much self-satisfaction and like self-gratitude that comes from something like that.
And I think that that's something to be grateful for. Like, I think that's a privileged opinion. and I say that because I have the same, like, I think exactly the same, but like things that I've come to realize is sometimes it's hard to appreciate the journey when you have to provide for your family, you know? Like, you know, with those youth like dropping out of school to have to provide for their family. Like sometimes you can't appreciate the journey when there are immediate things that you need to take care of. And so it's a really complex issue.
It is.
And I didn't even know where to start, but like that's I agree with you wholeheartedly that there is so much joy in the journey and so much experiences that you can learn from, but sometimes people have more difficult journeys.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, not disregarding anyone's journeys or anyone's struggles, but you know, if you think about it, like, all I know is like, you can do anything if you put your mind to it. Like, if you really want to, like, you can go and achieve the goals, and it's just up to you and your mindset. It's all in the mind, you know. And I feel like that's something that we need. Our generation, even our younger generation and our generations to come, like, we need to understand that it's a mindset, you know. And if we have the right mindset, there's the stars for us, you know. You ever hear that saying, you know, shoot for the moon, and if you shoot for the moon and you miss, you land on a star, you know. So it's like, it all depends on our mindset and how we take things.
Oh, can I ask you a follow-up question?
Yeah, go ahead. Go.
Are we allowed to disagree on this politely?
No, go.
So, like, I completely agree that a mindset is like really powerful in changing someone's actions. But like, how does a mindset change someone's like socio-economic status? You know, like some people are not born with wealth or like in healthy homes. Like, how does a mindset change your like your physical surroundings? Does that make sense? Yeah.
I guess that kind of it comes down to like, are you trying to take your surroundings with you, you know, or are you trying to take, like, because if you think about it, like, where you're going, you know, you can't take everyone, you know what I mean, and it's going to affect some people, right? You ever hear that saying, like, this is probably getting obnoxious, but I'm just gonna say it just as a, like,
I'm judging you. I'm just kidding.
Like, you know, that there's a quote, like, it was on TikTok, whatever, but they said the reason why The reason why there's only 2 seats in a Lamborghini because you can't take everyone, with you. So like, and I'm not saying like in terms of the people you bring with you, but I understand that there's, a dilemma with, socioeconomics, where you come from, right? But one thing that I do know personally, and then that's from experience and also from family as well, I know that you can get from a plantation and you can get from there towards an opportunity where you can provide for your family and with other people in the high prestige environment. And I know that firsthand, and if you really can, like that's why they say the mind is the most powerful powerful asset that we have, is because we can choose what we can do, and it all depends on how we perceive that, So I guess that would be my answer towards that,
So I guess it might be a little harder, depending on what your background was, but it's not impossible.
It's not, it is not impossible. And I know, especially with our community and our culture, right, it is really hard, because we do have to make some sacrifices for our family, so that we can be able to provide and they can be able to continue to, live an adequate life, right? And my hat goes down to a lot of those people who do make those sacrifices, and that's honestly a really big, right now it's a really big dilemma as well, the word sacrifice in the culture, right? Do this for your ancestors, your families, right? It's a big dilemma within our community, and I feel like people need to realize that, I feel like there's just a balance between it, like, and you just have to be able to understand that balance between, in the family, if everyone has a set goal where they want to go to, the whole family, like you're the saying, right? If you want to go fast, you go alone, but if you want to go far, you go together. So if you want to go together, right, just be able to express that,
Thanks.
I don't know if that's the right words, but
And I can't even remember what the original question was, but like, hopefully someone learned something from what we just said. Nah, that was, a lot to think about.
It is a lot to think about, and I feel like there's going to be another subject coming along later on in the future. A big one.
Sacrifice. Cultural obligations.
Cultural obligations.
Yeah, no, that's a big one.
Cultural obligations. We could honestly go on for that for another hour. Like that's something that we'll touch bases on another day.
Oh man, not for real.
All right. Moving on. Setbacks and failures, right? So that's a biggie.
Yeah.
We just talked about it a little bit about before, and I guess asking you, Paea, what's one setback or failure that you have been most grateful for?
It would have to be when I had like at the beginning of the year in about February, I had one of the biggest exams of med school.
Yeah.
And I failed it. And it was really, really hard to accept that, because the first thought that crossed my mind wasn't that maybe I could repeat the year, but the first thought was like, what is everyone else going to think?
Yeah.
Like, that was just, that was playing on my mind a lot. But I am most grateful for that failure, because it made me fear it less. It was like more normal.
Yeah.
And so the first thing that I did after that was I like did this massive post and told everyone that I failed and what I had learned from the experience, and how it just gave me more direction on what areas I needed to focus on. It also gave me what's the word? Is it reaffirmation?
Yeah.
Like affirmed to me that I know what I'm doing, and and I have to be strong enough to stick to it.
Keep going.
Yeah, and so those are some of the things I had learned through the experience, and I'm glad that I was able to share that with others. But I think the biggest thing was that it was normalized in my for myself, And I had to do that exam a couple of weeks ago. It was like the last exam of the year. And I passed, and
Let's
so
go.
I don't have to repeat the year again. And that's saying like it's okay to repeat. If you have to repeat the year, it's fine. But I'm glad that I don't have to spend 16 grand for another year, and I get to. Oh yeah, so I got a phone call, guys, during the break. This wasn't scripted
Just an
at all.
update. Just an update.
Wasn't scripted, but I got a call, and I can graduate.
Let's go.
You're looking at the new Dr. Leakehe. It feels really good to say that.
We're gonna do the clap.
Yes, thank you,
clap,
guys. Thank you.
Let's go.
Yeah, but I think one thing I learned as well from Brené Brown, The Gifts of Imperfection, she talks about how courage is not necessarily about putting your life down on the line anymore. It's about sharing your vulnerabilities. Like
I like that. Vulnerability.
Yeah, and so I think the biggest thing, and I keep repeating myself, but hopefully my repetition will just etch it into everyone's brains, is that it's okay to fail. Failure just redirects you and helps you to do better.
100%.
Yeah.
Fall forward.
Yeah.
Right.
And fail fast.
Fail fast and fall forward. I like that. Love it. Love failures here on Authentic Podcast. You know, I just like, from what you said, people need to understand that basic principle of when you fail, right, you become, I guess the only way to succeed is through failure. So like the more you fail, the more highly likely you're gonna succeed. And that's what we need to understand that as well. Yeah, moving on to our last question. What does authentic mean to you?
Authentic. I think I heard Tony's answer. It's definitely being genuine. So I talk with my girl Tony. I also think that it starts with you. Like, you need to be accepting of your imperfections.
Yourself.
Yeah, of your whole self.
Yeah.
You know, what is it? Ariana Grande song that, oh, you're pretty and all of my ugly too. Like, I think it's your pretties and your uglies. Quote me. Nah, but I think it's being unapologetically you, and you don't have to love the imperfections, but like be accepting of both the good and the not so good.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like we're so good at understanding our strengths, but not our weaknesses, you know. And that's something that I guess we need to understand, is by understanding both of our strengths and weaknesses, that just makes us human, right? And then and human is what we are, and we all fail in different ways. That makes us authentic.
Yeah, you know? I feel you. And I think, because sometimes, like with me, like I can tell you my weaknesses off the bat. Like, like I can be like, oh yeah, I'm not this, I'm not this, I'm not this. But I think it's about like understanding that those weaknesses can be strengths as well. Because I think
by understanding your weaknesses, they can be strengths.
Yeah. For it. And what's it called? Okay, I'm gonna plug Brené Brown's book again. But she talks about how, like, if we didn't have weaknesses, like say if people weren't mean, or if people, what's another not so good attribute? If people weren't prideful, then we would never learn humility. We would never learn to be kind. So there are gifts that come from people being imperfect or people having weaknesses.
It just helps us strengthen our own attributes and our weaknesses.
Yeah, for real.
Like that.
Yeah, so
that's super cool.
That's what it means for me to be authentic in a really long way.
Gotta love it. Oh, thanks for joining us today, Paea.
Thanks for having me.
We're honestly truly grateful to have you with us. We're grateful for the thoughts that you've shared. And honestly, we can't wait, for this upcoming year, for your, Dr. Paea Leakehe.
Yes. Oh, it feels so good. I can't wait to tell my parents when I get here, man.
Let's go. Big feeds.
You're all invited. All two of you.
100 people.
Awesome.
Thank you. No worries. Guys, don't worry. We're going to check up Paea's her social media on our platform, and then just if you guys want to like, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to also let us know what you guys think in the comments below. And yeah, till next time, we'll see you guys later.
Bye.